here. Yeah, I use AI for sure. Why wouldn't I?
To choose the right section.
No, well, look, I use two types of AI.
Yeah.
The first one is to do the jump cuts
Oh, yeah.
between the audio. So the audio that's coming through the microphone, mine will go into one file and yours will go into one file.
Oh.
And then the video...
So they organise themselves?
No, they kind of don't. But then I put it all in and then I line everything up and then I tell the AI when I talk...
Put
flip to my camera.
Yeah.
When you talk, go to that camera.
That's so clever.
So it just does this.
Whoa. I didn't know any of that was possible.
Yeah.
You'll realise that I have literally spent most of my life in a forest and I don't know anything about this shit. You'll soon realise.
59 seconds in, I have lived my whole life in a forest. That's such a great intro, Holly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's me.
So anyway, and then the second type of AI I use creates the captions and I can tell it what to look for and then it creates the clip, but like it'll scan the whole podcast and then it'll look for the, whatever I searched. And then it'll give me a score on how good it is.
Awesome.
And that can take out all the ums and the spaces and like all this type of stuff.
Oh my God, so we become robots. I hope it doesn't erase my laugh. My laugh's important.
I've become a robot.
I love that.
Yeah.
Whoa. That sounds like an important setting.
It's very important. Yeah. Oh, shit. Hang on. Anyway, back to here. So I use two types of AI.
Yeah. Cool.
And when I record, I can produce and edit all within 24 hours.
Which is nice. It's nice to do stuff like that quickly. I find social media really stressful, so it's good. Unless it's Canva, and then I'm in love.
Unless it's like Jungle Wire.
What's Jungle Wire?
I don't know, because you said you lived in a forest.
Oh, no. It's Canva is a technology that I love, to be fair.
Oh.
I do love Canva.
Canva.
I make a lot of like very nice graphic designs on there. I could spend hours.
Look, I tried Canva.
Oh.
But
you're not a believer.
Canva's just another version of like Photoshop. I don't know.
I find it nice though because you have pre-made graphics, and that uses AI because you can type in what you want and then it will come up with a suggestion that's always pretty whack, but it gives you the idea and then you can do it manually.
Is it wiggity wiggity whack?
It's wiggity wiggity whack.
Shit. How long you been using? What do you use Canva for?
Promoting my shows, creating logos for the collective.
We will get into your shows.
Yeah.
But I want to know why you said that you just live in a forest.
Yeah. Okay. So
actually, hang on. I just need to move this plant because that fucking leaf is annoying me.
But what if it wants to be in the shop?
No.
It's okay. I get a leaf now. That's good. It works. That works out. I've got a leaf to myself. Thank you.
You got to yeah. I much prefer you
having the leaf.
I can still see a little bit of that, but that's okay.
I like the leaf.
I'll survive. Anyway.
So why do I like forests?
I feel like we need some incense burning or something.
Yeah.
Or like some psychedelics.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't do drugs.
No.
No, nothing. I'm like, I think for me, trees are like, I mean, there's a lot of science behind why trees are good for you. They calm the nervous system down completely.
Mm.
They let off
Plants in general, I think.
Yeah, they let off ions that like regulate your system.
Especially the ones that you roll up and kind of go like.
Yeah, maybe not that. Yeah, that's the thing. But that's actually a really good example of how we commodify nature into just pleasure, and we think that we own it. I find that fascinating because in my eyes, I feel like we belong to nature. I think we belong to nature, but there's been years and years of learning that we own it and we control it and we trim it, and you know, we sometimes say that we care for it, but I don't know about that. Like, yeah, I think some people genuinely do. Like, you look at tree surgeons who absolutely like dedicate their whole life to trees, and that's pretty amazing.
The fuck is a tree surgeon?
A tree surgeon goes around and looks at trees to see where they have disease and to make decisions about how they can stop the disease spreading around forests. And they often save ecosystems, essentially.
Right.
And usually, I mean, sometimes they end up doing like, for example, if a tree branch grows over a road and it becomes at risk of falling over a car, for example, they'll remove it. So they sometimes do more kind of domestic stuff, but you also find tree surgeons going into forests and actually caring for forests.
We'll just go back to your comment before about you believe that we own it.
No, I believe that we belong to nature.
Sorry, you think... Yes, you believe that we belong to nature, but you think that other people seem to think that they own it so that they can do what they want with it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's sad because I think it's a mindset.
It is a mindset.
Yeah. I don't think people are like, oh, like, let me put this, you know, I mean, some people write in trees, for example. They write their names in trees in public parks. They carve stuff into them. Like, but they're not looking at them like a living thing.
Tell me you've done that, though.
I've never done that.
Never?
No.
Oh.
No.
Have you done it into concrete?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm a bit more ephemeral. Yeah. I like dance a lot in nature. I've always done that since I was a child. Yeah.
Now, you didn't grow up here. Where did you grow up?
So I originally am from the UK. And then we moved to Portugal when I was about 11.
What was that like?
Portugal is a very special place to me. We lived in the Algarve. Not the most, I mean, it's quite a touristy place, but we lived sort of to the west where there wasn't too much of that going on. Ironically, there's a lot of Australians there. A lot of Australians living
Is that
on the
where
west
you
coast.
where you got the Aussie bite?
Yeah,
You're
actually.
like,
I learned
"Whoa."
how to surf with an Aussie and like did kind of, and they all moved there because it's like the best place to surf in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's like home from home. But no, the landscape of Portugal is really special. I worked on a horse riding yard as a teenager. And
Really?
my first job was taking people out into the wild on horseback, and I would go on my own from the age of about 12. So I kind of took on massive responsibility.
Hang on. But you said that you moved to Portugal when you were 11.
Yeah.
And then you're fucking taking people out on horseback at 12.
Yeah. We were brought up with horses. Like, it's very much, my mum took care of a livery yard, which is like basically like always like a rental for other horses to be. So you can have 6 horses in a stable.
How many hands were the horses?
Good knowledge.
I've been around.
Some of them were like maybe, I don't know. I'd say the livery yard, the first livery yard was a horse between 15, 17 hands.
That's kind of average though, yeah?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, in Portugal, you had ponies. We had like a lot of ponies that we would exchange from gypsy groups who would come through Portugal.
Any Shetland ponies?
No Shetland ponies.
Oh, damn.
That's
They're
too
the
posh for Portugal. Portugal's a bit more wild than that. Like
Wow.
England's full of Shetland ponies.
Yeah, okay.
They're very well, I think they're quite selectively bred. I don't know. Maybe they do exist in the wild somewhere. I feel like they're a bit like pugs, you know, when people kind of created pugs. But pugs don't like being pugs because they all get health problems and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they snort
Yeah.
and snore
Yeah.
and they have joint problems.
Yeah.
But
and
we
it's
still breed
sad.
them.
Exactly. And
So
that's another
weird.
great example of how we think we own nature, because it's like, oh yeah, let me just do this to this dog so it looks like this. But you're not thinking about the dog. You know what I mean? Deep.
Fucking 11 minutes in and you're like already pulling the heartstrings.
Yeah. That's what I do, to be fair.
So, so how long were you in Portugal for? So from the age of 11.
We were there for 3 years, and
Yeah.
then every summer I would go back and live there for 3 months a year. And I'd stay at the horse riding yard. I just lived there.
Right.
Yeah, and would just work there because it just felt like a nice thing to do. I didn't really like, when I got back to the UK, I really didn't like it. Like, I felt
think
like
that's a common theme.
Yeah. Like, I feel like when you leave somewhere like the UK and you find somewhere that has a much more vibrant community, and there's just a lot more going on, there's a lot more connection to nature.
It's really strange because my mum lives in the UK with my stepdad.
Oof.
Where
do they live?
Bournemouth.
Okay. Not too bad.
Yeah, but like she's been there for over a decade. I would say, actually, it's probably 2 decades. But the idea was that they were going to spend 6 months there and then 6 months in Australia, and then it never happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but like, anyway.
I feel like, wait, so 6 months there and 6 months in Australia every year?
So that they would just like chase the summer.
Okay.
But like they got stuck there and then they never left.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I think family things and I don't know, like just other responsibilities up there, and
It builds, doesn't it?
yeah,
When you land somewhere.
like fucking, I don't know, maybe you get like attached to the place.
You get comfortable.
Oh, that's the word I was looking for. Do you think you're comfortable here now?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so when did you leave the UK? Because you told me off air that you went to India.
Yeah, that was quite recently, but
Oh.
the first time I got out of the UK, I was 18. I flew to Borneo.
Yeah.
And
To
that
the
was
jungle?
That was the first place I went on my own.
Wow.
I know. And I went into the jungle. I did some volunteering with this organisation called Camps International. Looking back on it, it's a bit like white saviorism stuff. It was a bit cringe, like looking back on it. But it was really good to just get out of the UK.
It
And
was
just get
probably
into
a
another
good
culture.
first experience.
Exactly. And
Where in Borneo were you?
we travelled to 3 different places.
Oh.
One of the most memorable was going to Mantanani Island.
Right.
And we were doing a lot of litter picking on the beaches. So we were doing a lot of conservation stuff. We were staying with families who had their own kind of smaller palm oil companies, but they were being overrun by the Chinese palm oil industry.
Right.
So yeah, that was a really eye-opening experience of like, oh, big corporations take over family businesses, and I don't know, when I learn stuff about this, I get really passionate. And then when we went to Cambodia afterwards with the same kind of group of people, and like that was when I learned about the Khmer Rouge and the killing fields and everything like that. And
Did you have Happy Herb pizza?
I've never heard of that. What is that? What is that?
Happy Herb pizza in Cambodia.
Literally never heard of it.
No, never.
No.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it.
Nothing. Yeah.
It's kind of a little bit like that
Oh,
stuff.
okay. Yeah, got
Yeah.
you. No, I kind of
God,
just wasn't.
there's a common theme happening today. It's like there's this division of.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hey.
Yep. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What they did in Cambodia is just horrendous. You know?
yeah, and it kind of coincides with all the like Vietnam War and the kind of. So I feel like the more I travel, the more I don't want to live in my country where I'm from because of the history and
of your country.
Yeah.
Because,
that one.
Because you come to realize how many countries your country invaded.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I'm in one right now. But at the same time,
yeah.
I mean, Melbourne is quite a good place to be. Everyone tends to be pretty aware. I mean, I went to Ghana shortly after Cambodia and did a dance internship there. And again, it was the same thing. It was English colonization.
Really?
Yeah. And museums about that. And I was taught in school about Tudors, about, victory of World War One and Two, and jack shit about this. And it was only when I started studying the arts and dance that I started learning about the history of America and where musical theatre came from and the slave trade and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And when I started learning about that, I was like, oh God. And it just made me want to just get out of the UK.
This is going to really test my memory, but I had a guest on who got into dance and the history of... Fuck. My memory is so bad. But I do... But I do know she was an immigration officer.
Oh, right, okay.
She was an immigration officer and she had helped my friends actually with their PR into Australia.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was telling me she got into got into dancing and then really like tried to understand and I can't fucking remember what the dance is called. But anyway, but it was all based on the slaves because...
Tap dance.
No.
Tap dance comes from that anyway.
Bachata, because of the movement.
Yeah,
it's very the steps are very like limited because they were chained at their ankles. Yeah.
It's kind of devastating.
Thanks for helping me there.
That's okay. Yeah. But yeah, like it's I guess the more I learn about that, the more I just wanted to get out, I guess. But also just I guess learn from people. I had to do a lot of work on myself because you internalize a lot of kind of systemic racism from everywhere else.
Yeah, and anger about what you've been taught by your own country and your own education system.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of like, huh? What?
Yeah. And then the awkward conversations you have with your family who are like 2 generations up who have zero capacity to change and who will always hold the values and will always wave the Union Jack flag. And it's like, oh, shit. Like, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
Awkward.
It's hard. I mean, my mum's really great. My mum is really great. Like, I love all of them, but it's about, I mean, I feel like at the moment, like right now in society, there seems to be this huge need to, like no one's agreeing on anything. It feels like everyone has really different views and there's a real struggle to hold on to love within all of that. Like, and I don't know. And I think social media has kind of created that, but like, I think, you know, that's a really good example with my family. It's like, yeah, you know, I mean, even with my partner's family, you know, they just have different views and they've been brought up in a different way. And like, I can go to battle, but I have to know how to do that in a way that's like loving, you know? How can I help
compassionately?
Exactly. How can I help someone open their mind? Because at the same you know, if I have kids, which I don't think I will, to be honest, because I don't want them, but you know, if I have some people in the younger who knows, if people are in the younger generation and I'm say 60, you know, I might be really stuck in my ways about certain things. So I kind of try and see it as much as I can from other people's perspective, but at the same time hold my values and stand my ground a little bit, you know?
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So my mum is Indonesian, as I told you. She learned to speak English by just living in an English-speaking country, right? And so with Indonesian, what's interesting is the grammar is backwards to English. And so she was always like mixing things up, right? But like there comes a point where you become of age and you realize that what you're telling me just isn't right. It doesn't sound right, you know? And I think as you're like with the younger generation, the greatest thing about the younger generation and any younger generation is that they don't know any better. And so there's this constant thirst for learning and taking on new information. And I actually think learning is a skill that as an adult you need to develop and keep developing because the world is changing constantly. And you have to be able to be relevant, you know, with your environment and be relevant with who you're interacting with. You know?
But I think the principle that education ends when you're 21, if you get to go to uni, for example, I think a lot of people have taken that as, I don't need to learn anything now. Like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll advance in this way in my job so that I can get more money. But it doesn't, or like, oh, I'll do this because I should have a hobby.
You know what uni just provides you though?
What?
It provides your future employer evidence that you can commit yourself to 4 years and keep going to the one place. That's it.
Yeah.
Because guess what? As soon as you walk into a job, you're going to get on-the-job experience. They don't teach you that at uni.
No, they don't. But I think it's this notion of like, you know, if we have certificates, then we can show that we can learn. But actually, I think the most profound learning can be from conversations with people and our approach to having those conversations with people as well.
I like how you did that. You like looped it into the reason why I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Because I learn about people.
Yeah. And like I think hearing people talking about different topics, I think can be a really good way to learn. And
I think it's a great way, and you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I think one of the issues or challenges that we have in today's day and age is that there's too much information available. And with too much information means that some people can't differentiate what's right and what's wrong and like all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then throw in this thing called social media and it's all about attention and da-da-da-da, like how do you get like the number of likes or whatever, like the statistics, the data, right? When really, like, and I've said this on previous episodes, social media isn't very social.
No, it's specializing.
Correct.
Human beings.
How do you make it social? You make it social by conversation. And the oldest form of conversation is what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Actually talking to each other.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
I mean,
I
back
agree.
in caveman days, it was
Yeah.
That's how they made conversation. Not through a phone or, you know, whatever. Look, I say that, but then I'm a technologist and I love technology.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. And I'm so glad you exist because it means that I don't have to do it. Look, I love technology when it comes to art for me.
Yeah.
But I find it just doesn't work well for my brain.
What do you
I'm
mean?
sincerely grateful to it's just my brain is much more interested in bodies, in movement, in like sound that can come from a human. Like I'm a very organic person in that way, and I've realized that that's where my strength is in the world.
You know, all humans are organic.
Yeah. I do. But that's where I want to work, you know? Like that's the
That's the field.
That's the field that I want to work in.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I'm teaching, like I teach Pilates and swimming, and when I'm working with people's bodies and breath, and I'm like, obviously there's music in the space. I love making playlists, and I love kind of music is a huge thing for me. But when I'm creating a space for them to be in that's in person, that's like, for me, it feels really real, and it feels really like the type of service that I want to be offering is like that real connection.
How did you get into Pilates? Because it's pretty hard.
Do you find it hard?
I find my flexibility is shit.
It's not actually really. Yoga's more targeting flexibility. Pilates, I mean, yeah, there is some, but there's not a huge amount. It's I got into it because I dance and I do physical theatre, and I need to find a job that keeps me going at the same time as keeping other people going. So I was like, right, I can't keep doing community work alongside my creativity, even though it's beautiful work and I'm very good at it. I need to do something that energizes me as well as energizing other people. And when I got to Australia, I just like hopped straight onto a Pilates course, and that was that. And
how long ago was that?
So I've been in Australia a year and a half. I've been teaching Pilates for a year. After I got out of my training, I basically got myself enough jobs to be full-time straight off.
Wow.
I know. I'm a bit of a hustler. I spent most of my 20s in London, and to be in London as a 21-year-old in this day and age, I mean, 6 years ago would have been I was eating soup and bread and pretty much nothing else for about 3 years, and was putting 75% of my income into rent, and was cycling everywhere, and like didn't get on TfL, which is the public transport there.
Right.
Couldn't afford it. Yeah. So I've kind of had a really, I'm so grateful for that.
And now look at you, Pilates instructor.
I mean, that doesn't earn much either. I don't like having a lot of money.
Money is the bane of evil, though.
I just find it too much responsibility. If I can support my creative projects, which I am, that's kind of all I want money for right now. I don't have a huge amount of, like, I don't want to buy a house. I don't drive. I don't even want to. I might learn to drive so that me and my partner can share long drives. But I'm not really interested in, getting a car. Doesn't really do it for me. I don't know. Yeah.
So what was it like living in London? Like you said that.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
So in London, I was,
because there are no trees in London.
There was loads of trees in London. London's one of the greenest cities in the world, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hampstead Heath is bang in the middle, and you can forget that you're in a city. It's huge. And actually, when I came to Melbourne, one of the things I thought was, there's no big parks. Like, compared to London, there's no big parks here, and it was quite upsetting. So yeah, it's interesting. It's not what you would think.
Hey, you're still here.
Yeah. No, I know, and I got over it. But no, yeah, London's actually very special, and I worked as a Forrest school educator. So I was teaching children from the age of 2 to 5 in the woods 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And was
living in London.
Yeah, and I was teaching them maths and English through counting sticks and telling stories about trees.
Hang on. So
I love how this blows your mind.
What the fuck? Like,
yeah.
hang on. So you're in London.
Yeah, I'm holding on to the leaf.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean you were like teaching kids in the woods?
So
like
there's a place called Wimbledon Common in London.
Right.
So it's in, I think it's like zone 3 or 4. So it wasn't like in zone 1, but it's, their parks are really big. So it would take a good 2 or 3 hours to get across it walking. Like, they're big.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and Wimbledon Common is kind of on the way out of London. And we would have a particular area that they'd arranged with the council that we had, and we'd put rainbow ribbons around it. And then the kids would stay in this little enclosure and we'd watch how the seasons changed it.
They were fucking caged. the force field of rainbow ribbon.
Very loose rainbow ribbon. There was probably about 5.
Did they have like ankle trackers on so you didn't lose them?
No.
Tags
We
around their neck?
relied purely on their ability to follow boundaries, which is actually so. And also, when you put a 2-year-old up a tree, they know how to climb. When you put and these are all the opportunities that children miss out on when they go to a regular kinder. And it was absolutely fascinating. And we had a lot of kids coming through with ADHD or with like cognitive delay. And it was heaven for them because nature is it's so interesting. It's so stimulating. It's always changing. You know, one day it'd be rainy and we'd be splashing in puddles. And the next day, you know, it would be really sunny and we'd be like pretending to make a fire with sticks and like finding a game and improvising the whole day, you know, and kind of just me. And it was very Montessori style education. So it's very child led. So they find something and then I add something educational into whatever they're doing. So it's not about like, you need to sit down and I'm going to teach you the ABC. Like we find it and it happens naturally. We don't need to like enforce it. And it broke my heart because a lot of these kids at the age of 5 will then go to a regular school and it feels like all the work we've done is just going to unravel.
Miss, where are the sticks?
Exactly. But it's, you know, I mean, it was profound. And then
Did you ever have any kids come back when they were a little bit older?
No, I actually wasn't there for long enough to get the alumni coming back. But no, because I went on to move to work at a SEN school, a special needs school. So I was working with children with profound learning difficulties and also sensory differences. So a lot of my kids that I was teaching there had autism and blindness and another thing. So, yeah.
Wow.
I honestly, look, it's a very challenging way to live. However, a lot of them had unbelievable talents. A lot of them had perfect pitch musically. I taught a lot of music and a lot of arts and a lot of stuff like that. And it was absolutely profound what they came out with. And again, it kind of taught me a lot about, you know, because you wouldn't learn about that stuff in day to day. You don't come because actually these people are like marginalized in society.
And you don't learn about the fact that there's this alternative way of
doing things,
particularly with kindergarten kids, you know, and all that. And I guess it is, it's almost like potentially you're only aware due to your geographic location that's available because, you know.
But then, you know, a lot of people don't realise, but on a lot of buses and traffic lights, there's Braille, which is like ways of communicating for visually impaired people. They put the finger on and they know what it's saying. But unless you worked with, or like unless you came across people with visual impairment, you would never know. And people don't question stuff like that. They don't question what those dot things on that button. And I think, I think my career experience, I've always worked with marginalised communities. I've always worked with people or in alternative ways as well. But I've always worked with people who don't seem to be very noticed or don't seem to be very much in the limelight.
Are you, do you have siblings?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm youngest.
You're the youngest?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Why? What did you think I was?
I would have said the oldest. Because if you were like...
Is it because I'm confident?
No, like helping others.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you're the youngest. Look, I'm stereotyping here. But
that's interesting. But that's interesting, isn't it?
Youngest
how we do
would
this.
Be like, you know... smallest child syndrome.
Yeah. Some people have that, I guess.
I guess, the brat of the family.
Yeah.
You know, always think that they're right, but instead you're like working with underprivileged kids and, you know, like seeking out alternative ways to do conventional things.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Well, I grew up with a lot of mental health stuff myself. So I've had a lot of experience of being the odd one out and also not like experiencing a lot of systemic issues around getting the support I needed. For example, the NHS is a really, don't get me wrong, there's some amazing people who work for the NHS. It's the healthcare system in the UK. There's a lot of amazing people who work there, and I have friends who are nurses. However, because of the underfunding and because of the overwhelming amount of people trying to access them, I was one of the people who very much slipped through the cracks and needed a lot of support and couldn't get it. And you're either not paying at all and waiting for like 6 to 12 months for therapy, or you're paying private, which is way, way up. And the divide to get that support in the UK is huge. You know, after doing all my special needs work, I worked with the homelessness community for a long time as an outreach worker and in London. And, you know, some people talk about prison being the safest place they've been because they're like long-term on the streets.
Because they're fed and they've got a bed and they've got a roof.
Yeah. And I think there's a huge stigma around mental health. I think there's a huge misunderstanding. And I think it's actually a result of intergenerational trauma that hasn't been resolved. And it's a result of generations of people who've not been able to deal with their emotions in a healthy way. And that shit travels. And sometimes people have to deal, like in my experience, a lot of the shit that I've dealt with half of it hasn't even been mine. Like I've had to separate it out and be like, wow.
I did read something about that actually the other day about how like the changes that you are forced to make if you decide to make changes in your life are family generational like breakthroughs. You're breaking away from what's been done.
Yeah.
And sometimes most of the time that's uncomfortable for the rest of the family because they don't understand.
But also actually what it does is it makes them look at themselves. And that's absolutely what's happened in my family. And we've undergone a mass healing. My sister then got support. My mum then got support.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think if someone has the courage to change, it has a ripple effect. And I mean, for some people it really doesn't, which is devastating. But
as in it doesn't create a ripple effect and people don't change.
Yeah. Some people have to move away from their families completely. But you know, it doesn't just come out of nowhere, you know? And anorexia doesn't just happen. You know, I don't believe personally that they're just biological things. I think there's a huge spiritual and environmental factors that can create them. And I think it's much more complex than people like to think.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's a global thing.
Yeah. Yeah, on different levels, yeah.
On many different levels.
Yeah.
And you know, I think so I'm very energy related. Like I get frequencies and stuff like that. Obviously my electrical engineering background, blah, 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 like all of that type of stuff. But, you know, I'm very self-aware. I consider myself an empath. Like I can read people and I get sensitive on things and all this type of stuff. And I agree. I think we take on particular frequencies and we take on particular energies that are from past traumas that aren't dealt with, and you know it just kind of like builds up, and we have to like do our own internal healing in order to be able to make progress in whatever we're trying to do. And you know, people will do things like substance abuse, or they'll get into relationships, or they'll end relationships, or they'll, do career changes and all this type of stuff. But really, it's like they need to do the inside work first.
Yeah, it's an inside job. Yeah, it's an inside job.
Because if you don't do the if you don't do the inside work,
everything's just going to be crap.
It's just going to impact the rest of your environment as well.
Every decision you make.
Not every decision.
Lots of them. I think so.
Mm.
I think, I know for me, I can still go into fear all the time. I can be a real panicker. And when I make decisions out of fear, often those
that's not good.
don't go to but people,
don't make decisions when you're emotional.
But okay, this is interesting. I'm going to ask you a question.
Fuck.
Hang
on, this is my podcast.
How do we help people understand when they're emotional or not, when we have created an education system that tells people what to do and essentially tells people to sit down and shut up and makes people stay in the room when things are overwhelming or things, but with no education on how to deal with their emotions. But I mean, it's better now. It looks better now. I'm not in schools now. I don't know. But how can we expect people to not act emotionally when making decisions if they haven't been educated? And I feel like half of the world,
if they haven't been educated,
haven't been educated on how to actually access their emotional landscape, which so many people actually don't.
Well, you have to
do that.
You have to give them channels in which to educate themselves.
Yeah.
Like listen to podcasts, or read books, or do active, give them active examples or activities to do. One of those activities could be a mind map. You just it's a bubble diagram, and if you can't calmly draw something that then helps you encapsulate all the information that you currently know about the decision that you're trying to make, maybe you're emotional about stuff. So you just need to put it aside and don't make a decision just yet.
Yeah.
I
just wish, I definitely didn't have access to that when I was in my isms. I call them my isms.
Your isms.
Yeah. I didn't have access to any of that. And it was only when I got support. But I feel like to pay for that feels really not cool. I feel like that's something that should just be
Why do you think you
free
need to pay for it?
I mean, a lot of people get education on this stuff from a therapist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's such a big paywall behind that, and I find that really sad. I mean, obviously there's lots of free schemes going around, which is great.
There's this thing called YouTube. You can search anything up.
That's true.
And it's all free.
That is true. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I think
that's a good point.
Yeah.
I haven't engaged with screens super loads in my life because I'm in Forrest. So, but yeah,
you're fucking on the stick computer.
Literally.
Do you use an abacus?
What's an abacus? What's an abacus?
It's the fucking first. It's the bead calculator that was made by the Chinese.
I have no idea.
Bro, what's going on?
I know. I have no idea. Zero.
That is so funny.
I know.
You're going to look up what... Do you have a phone? Yeah, of course you got a phone.
I have a phone.
You contacted me on Instagram.
I know.
So you do have a screen.
I love Instagram, and the reason why I'm on Instagram is because of my creative work, and you kind of have to be.
I have a love-hate relationship with Instagram.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm like, I want to do it. I don't want to do it. I want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm in Instagram jail. I'm not in Instagram jail. I'm in Instagram.
Yeah.
Make up your fucking mind.
Yeah.
Stop changing the rules.
Yeah.
How come they can do stuff and I can't do it? You know?
Yeah.
And then you put it. I've currently got a restriction on my account because I posted something and they're like, "Bow. You have one less feature that you can access now till the 9th.
Monday.
I've got 3 more days.
Fine, you're fine. Monday. It's all right.
Yes.
But isn't it crazy how
Wasn't
you
even-
can censor someone's expression? I mean, there's certain... that's an interesting topic. Because you were talking about right and wrong earlier. What
happened there?
I was having like a mental...
Epiphany.
Yeah. I think out loud quite a lot. So,
What did you say?
you were talking about before... You were talking about right and wrong, right?
Mm.
And I find it interesting where the balance is between where right and wrong is externally. Like we have like Instagram, they're kind of trying to monitor us morally, which I find weird.
Well,
and then we have these internal values.
The Australian government's just passed that bill to
ban anyone under 16.
Yeah.
Which is pretty intense. Yeah. It's pretty intense.
First government in the world. What are they fucking trying to do?
I don't know. I feel sad about it. But I also... I don't really know with that one. I feel like there's lots of different sides to it.
I think that... Yeah, there would be lots of different sides.
Because there's that thing of like, I didn't have a phone until I was like 15 maybe. And... I barely used it then because I kind of was like, oh, this is annoying. It's a nuisance, you know? I was like, I just don't want to be... I just want to go around and knock on people's doors because that's what I did when I was a kid.
You wanted to play with sticks.
I wanted to go play with sticks, exactly. And so for me, you know, but that's changed now because these people are being born and they see their families on phones and Instagram and stuff like that. And so I feel like... It's complicated, but it is complicated.
Well, my generation's the last generation to have lived through pre-internet technology and post-internet technology.
That must have been a complete mind boggle.
So,
I mean, you love it, clearly.
Yeah,
yeah.
I am one of the unique individuals where I love technology.
Yeah.
I just love technology.
That's great.
Like my dad, in the 80s, signed. So when he got like the first computer at our house, I was like fascinated, you know. And then when we moved to Singapore, he put me in a computer course, right, to learn computer programming. You know, like, oh, you wouldn't know, but MS-DOS. Anyway, MS-DOS for anyone else listening is like, you know, just a black and white screen, and you know, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I was like, what is this? This is great. Yeah. And then computer games and like all this, and so it's always, for me, it's always been something that I find has, I guess, enriched my life or enriched the experience. You know, like I was always going out playing basketball and riding a bike and doing all that type of stuff, but I was always like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like to wow.
Yeah, I guess because you saw the world without it. So you saw it come in. And I feel like there's something much more exciting. I mean, I remember when computers were like, I don't know, everything was really 3D.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that very well. And videos and tapes and all these, like, I remember all that. And we had a game console from like, I don't know, must have been 1979 or something. And it was like just a jet, like, and the games were like this thick.
The cartridges, yeah.
And
that might have been an Atari or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of Nintendo's.
Oh, it was a
first
Nintendo
ones.
64. It was
Maybe.
a grey one?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
And it was mad. And like,
And
it
you'd
was
like
fun. Yeah.
To get the dust off, to make sure that it,
But it all felt like Lego, you know what I mean? It was just very like plastic and weird.
because it wasn't made of flora.
Well,
Flora. It wasn't made
I don't
of
know
flora.
though. It was just, for me, it was strange. And, but yeah, like, I don't know. I didn't feel super attached to it or like particularly amazed by it.
Okay.
But I studied fine art and we had access to a lot of really cool technology. I know. I'm such a. I don't know. What am I?
Where did you study fine art?
At the Lancaster Institute of Contemporary Arts in the UK.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you specialize in?
Performance art.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, for me,
That's quite prestigious, right?
Why would that be prestigious?
I don't know.
I feel like
Sounds prestigious, Lancaster.
It was a prestigious uni actually, and we on the art course would often get attacked on Facebook because we were seen as not a proper subject.
That means it's prestigious.
Yeah, so it was very elitist.
Because the minute you start, yes,
it was very elitist.
Sorry, wrong word.
No, that's okay.
Elitist.
Yeah. And I was very academic and wanted to go somewhere high end. That's what I thought I wanted at 18.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at you now.
I know. Well, I actually transferred unis halfway through because I realised that this wasn't the environment I needed to be in. And even though I was doing really well, I thought this isn't gonna. I mean, this was when I was in all my isms, but I still did great at everything. I was a massive perfectionist, and I think that's some of the part of what drove it all. But I actually moved to London halfway through my degree and moved to Middlesex Uni, which is much more arty, much more inclusive. And we had all of the different art forms in one building. And I literally was I designed a soundscape for someone's dance piece that they were doing in the dance department. I made multimedia performances collaborating with jazz students, and then got all these sound artists in and made these massive paintings, and was collaborating with dance students and theatre students. And I don't really see there are boundaries between art forms, but I'm very multidisciplinary. And so fine art degree for me was great because it meant that I could use all my performance stuff. But I was told, here's a blank space, fill it over the next 12 weeks. And there's a lot of theory. You have to go to theory every week and learn about the history of art, and you have to be able to justify where your artwork belongs in society and in history. But it's free reign, and you become a creator. And I think that that's why I love being a maker and a creator and a director rather than auditioning for musicals and stuff. And I feel like there's a difference between performers who want to be directed and performers who want to direct shit and make stories. And I think my fine art degree really showed me that for me, I need creative agency in order to be in a creative space. A lot of the time I have deliberately gone to the less comfortable end where I've been directed because it's good for my personality. It's good for me to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
I know. There's so much to unpack. Enjoy.
Where do I even start? I mean, I think the minute you start seeing haters of any kind, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Going to that uni and having people be like, "Oh, you're not even a real degree."
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Open your mind a little bit more.
Yeah.
About the possibilities of stuff.
I feel like I just walk through my life opening people's minds, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really interested in. So I used to love shocking people a lot when I was a lot younger.
Right.
And I'd say I still love that, but because I see the framework that people subscribe to. And I've
fakeism.
I wouldn't even call it fakeism. I would just say people have subscribed unconsciously to this thing. And I love, I'm dairy free, right? And I love going and ordering a pizza that's vegan, and I put meat on it, and I love it. And it just blows people's minds because they're like, wait, you want to put meat on a vegan pizza? But I'm like, yeah, but I'm dairy free. And I don't do that because I'm annoying. I do that because that's genuinely how I eat. But it blows people's minds because people are so conditioned and used to a certain way of being. And
So hang on. So they get confused because you order a vegan pizza and then you ask for them to put meat on it.
Yeah.
But it's purely because
Because I don't have dairy.
Yeah. Mm.
But there's
But
that element.
There should be a dairy-free pizza.
But
you're kind of making a dairy-free pizza.
I don't think there should be anything. I just notice how when I interact with people, sometimes people are surprised about some of the choices that I make. But I read a book about the history of human beings. Like, it was a very anthropological book.
I think I know the book. It's very long, isn't it?
Is it Homo sapiens?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's about, like, it goes through the thing, but the biggest takeaway was everything's a myth, and there are popular myths of the time, and everything's a fucking myth.
Like religion.
Yeah, but also like gender, and also like jobs, and like this thing of like having to ask to take leave from work where you give how many hours a week, like 45 or something, and you're having to ask another person whether you can take free time. I find that baffling.
Wow.
I find that so crazy. I'm like, wait a second. That's why I work casual. I cannot be tethered. No thanks. But I've never been able to deal with that. And that's why I've gone from job to job to job, because I'm just like, wait, I need to figure out somewhere where I can be myself and I can experience fun at work and I can feel joy and I don't feel activated by it. Like, obviously there's things that are annoying that happen at work for me, but like nothing that tips me over.
There's always things that are annoying.
But nothing that tips me over. And I've found places where I can work where like I am loved by my students and I love them back, and we are creating genuine relationships. I've been teaching some of the same people for like over a year now, and it's gorgeous, like, and for me, that's the priority in life, is where can I feel genuine connection with people and I can earn a living. But if those boxes aren't ticked for me, I won't subscribe. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like, and I don't, and I think the common misconception is that I want things to be different. I don't. I just want to choose what I want to do. So I don't need things to be changed now. I'm not making any demands on anyone to change how they are. I respect how other people are. But I'm just doing what's best for me. You know what I mean?
You're a very unique individual.
Thank you.
To have gone through the experiences that you've gone through and have the knowledge that you've got to be able to share that with the world. And we will talk about your performance, but I guess to develop that mindset as well. And so, like I made a comment before about religion. Look, I don't have any issues about anybody being religious. Like, and I think having a faith is just like being passionate about a hobby. Like it invigorates you, like whatever. Where I have issues is if others are trying to push it on to other people, like to your exact point, allow me to make my own decision.
Yeah, totally.
Allow me to come up with whether or not I want to be this religion or that religion or that religion. Because it's exactly the same with a hobby. I'm allowed to do that hobby or that hobby, that hobby. No one will have an issue because it's a hobby.
So it doesn't impact them.
Doesn't impact them. So why does religion impact them as well?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to force me to be one religion when I want to be something else? Or maybe I don't want to be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're right. Like, and again, I think it's a lot of it has to do with the access to information. Like there's a lot of information, and as a result of a lot of information, potentially, I think people have put like structures in place, and those structures are what is like causing this like confusion or friction, you know, and
yeah, I think so, and I think it's just a human condition as well. This need to like know, and this need to control, and this need to feel like everything has a category, and the right and wrong thing as well. I think is really, enforced.
Well, a lot of that I think also comes back to like people's egos. They want to feed the ego, or they don't know how to control their own ego.
Yeah,
and like the ego can cause so many problems.
Yeah.
Yes. I had someone on yesterday and they were like, no, they have to lean on their ego and, you know, allow the ego to take control because it gets them out of bed, you know, and like all that type of stuff, which is totally fine. But like if you're, for me, everything comes down to whether or not your intent is malicious. If your intent is malicious, I don't want to know you. Like, go away and don't hurt anybody else, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just calm the fuck down and realize what you're doing. Realize the intention that you're using is incorrect. Like, we're all in... There's a... who said it? I can't remember who said it. Anyway, someone said, no one gets out of this alive.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So you know what? Let's just all get along.
Yeah.
And all try to be happy. But when you throw in things like money and ego and status and material things, like people get defensive or they attack or they, you know, try to trick individuals and like all that type of stuff just to get ahead. It's like...
Yeah. I think the man-made security is kind of an illusion, but people hold on to it big time. I think, I find it funny, and I guess this comes back to like the nature thing because I feel like, but I feel like people genuinely don't understand that like, you're never alone because you have a garden or you have like...
I have plants.
You have these other living beings around you that you're like totally ignoring. And you know, we defend all of this stuff that we've made and we've created and it's ours and we own it and blah, blah, blah. And it's...
I am trying to defend that plant because every single night my youngest cat thinks he's in the latest Mission Impossible movie and he like attacks the leaves.
Yeah.
Bro, just fucking calm the fuck down. I try to stop him.
I love it. Yeah. But I guess, you know, that's how I see it. You know, I think we really solidify things for ourselves and we're not willing to let things go because we've fallen completely out of touch with the natural cycles that we're part of. You know, the death is huge in nature. Death happens all the time. Like... And people can't let go of, you know, people get so attached to material things and ideas and it's pretty wild.
Are we sentients in a meat vehicle?
Sentience in a meat vehicle? Never heard that one before. I've heard of the one where it's like...
We're sentient beings in a meat vehicle.
Where did you get that from?
I don't know, it's something I read.
Oh, yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah, I've heard of the one where it's like you're a brain in a vehicle where people are really disembodied and totally disconnected from their body. So it's like, oh, you know, this is the vehicle for my brain. I don't give a shit about that.
Actually, a special friend from Canada sent me something was it yesterday or was it today? I think it was yesterday. It was this analogy of spirituality and how we're all connected.
Yeah.
And the analogy is like a body of water is like a collective spirituality, and you take a cup and you take, you know, you fill the cup up with water, right? And I'm gonna fucking fuck this up, but the cup is the body, you know, and if you were to put dye in the water, like that's your own like soul, you know.
Yeah, and it comes from everything.
Yeah, and it comes from everything. So we're all connected.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like we need to fucking chill the fuck out because guess what? You're going to leave your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and we need to be more connected with things.
Yeah.
With everything.
Yeah.
Because everything is energy.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think for me, I've definitely felt a lot happier. Like when I become really fixated on like admin and the producer aspect of creativity and getting stuff out, and I'm like on my computer too much, I notice that my mental health goes to shit. But when it's really good, it's because I'm going out and like being in a park, or I'm going like, and I'm doing like, I'm reminding myself of my connectivity to everything, and I'm seeing strangers walking their dogs, and I'm smiling at people, and I have no particular agenda. I'm just there noticing stuff. And for me, that's like a reminder that there's so much more going on than just me and my thoughts and, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you never thought of like taking your laptop to the park?
No. Only in COVID, when I was working from home, I would go and sit in the garden.
COVID.
Yeah. I sat in the garden or in parks up against tree stumps to get through the fact that I was on a computer every day. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
What advice would you give your younger self?
What advice would I give my younger self?
I
don't think I'd give them any advice. I think they did great. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I did great. I think I did really well with what I had. And I don't think they need advice. I think they did good because they got here. Yeah.
You did your best with what you had.
Yeah. What if we just said to ourselves, you know, you're doing great? What if we didn't need to add anything in?
There's a lot to be said about self-talk, though.
Yeah. I hate affirmations. Hate them.
Why?
With a passion.
Why?
I think for me, experiencing emotions and accepting emotions is what carries us through them. I think telling myself to experience a different emotion feels really synthetic for me. Yeah, I find it very alienating and invalidating to tell myself to do something else than what I'm feeling.
Right.
Yeah. So I actually, I mean, my thing is like, okay, you're feeling this thing, but we're not going to behave in a way that is shitty because we're feeling negative emotions. But we can feel this and we can get on with our day and stay open to inviting positive experiences in. But we can feel all of that at the same time. So, yeah.
Okay.
And then,
so I was a little bit shocked when you said that, but now I understand because I agree. I think when you're going through an emotion, you like the best thing to do is not try to
change it,
not try to combat it, just like sit in it.
Yeah.
You know, and like get through it.
Just be with it.
Yeah.
Just be with it because it often will take you somewhere. Yeah, it'll take you. And it's because of something as well. There's a reason. There's an intelligence behind it. It's not just random. And I think sometimes
you're so true.
But I think
it's not random. Nothing happens by coincidence.
Yeah. Well, some things do. But I think with emotions, you know, I think, you know, we can sometimes be taught to treat them like they're
foreigners.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Aliens. They're aliens invading our body.
Yeah. There's a lot of fear of emotions out there. And I think, I think for me, it's about riding it out without making it huge as well, you know, because I can make a mountain out of a molehill. Like,
oh, can you?
Oh yeah, I think anyone can. I think anyone can.
I like what you did then. You're like, I can make a mountain out of a molehill. And then I asked you, can you? And you're like, everyone can.
I think anyone
was,
can.
That
yeah.
was a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
I asked one person, then you said the whole universe.
Yeah. I think so.
Mm.
I think that's part of being human, really.
Yeah, and I think it's just the mindset that you have and perspective. Because there's always, at a minimum, two sides to every story.
Yeah.
There could be multi-dimensional stories in that, like this whole multiverse, different timeline bullshit. But
what's that? Multiverse, different timeline?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Different timelines.
As in happening at the same time as us?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Oh.
Nothing.
Do you think we're in a simulation?
No, I think there's a lot of illusion though. But I don't think it's a simulation. I don't think anyone's controlling it. I just think our perception is often narrow. Yeah.
Hasn't it been proven that we're in a simulation?
I don't know. I kind of stay out of all of it.
Oh,
no, because it just...
We're going down conspiracy theory pathways here.
I find it unhelpful in a way. Because it's when we...
Because you just start questioning everything.
It creates a lot of fear. Yeah.
Oh.
I think I feel most wise, again, when I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like anything where I'm feeling super jacked up and crazy and fearful, I'm kind of a bit like, I mean, like, there's genuine things in the world that terrify me and that...
Like what, sharks?
No, not
Spiders.
Nothing
No.
to do... People scare me a lot more than nature. People
That's
terrify
why you're in
me.
the jungle so much, in the forest.
Oh, 100%.
Because there's
Humans
less
are crazy.
people.
Humans are mad.
Humans are mad, but you come across some really good humans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have loads of great humans in my life.
Yeah.
But when you put them all together, it's pretty scary.
Why would you do that? Just keep them separate.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't need to... No, don't mix. Don't mix.
It's not about that. It's just... I think it's just the global mass and the way that it works together, especially at the moment, and the way that it's broadcast everywhere. I find it very challenging. Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about your performance.
My performance.
I see. Is that a ukulele that you brought?
Yeah. I brought a ukulele.
Do you want to play your ukulele?
I will tell you a bit about the show.
Okay, yes.
And then I can play the ukulele. Yeah, I can play the ukulele.
I'm so excited. This is the first time someone's going to play an instrument on the podcast.
Yay. Well, I'm not very good at ukulele, but it helps me to get the songs.
You should never put yourself down.
Oh, no.
You know why?
I just know. It's fine.
You know why?
Why?
Because other people will do that for you.
I don't experience that very much. I think I must have been like, I was like, why do I not experience that very much? And I was like, oh, I think it's probably because I've just found the right people to be around.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. But yeah, the show.
Anyway, your performance, how did you come up with it?
Yeah, so it's kind of a story. It's an autobiographical show. So it's about me and my journey around my gender. There's stuff around gender norms, and it talks about the history of the gender binary.
Yeah.
But it's also through the lens of Druidry. Have you heard of Druidry before?
No.
So Druidry is the kind of pre-Christian UK.
Right.
And there were 8 seasons, and it's kind of it was inclusive of Ireland, because at that point Ireland wasn't a separate entity and a little bit of the top of France. But basically, the premise is we learn from nature, and nature, like we have a connection with nature. We have different festivals where we celebrate the land. Everything revolved around the land and community. I love it. And I kind of learn a lot about it when I was in the UK for the last few years before I went away. Hello. And
that's Larry.
Yeah. And so I started creating music, songs about connecting to nature. And I did a lot of work around retrieving my kind of spirit from 0 to 5 years old through writing and through shamanic journeying. And I just retrieved this image of me as a 3-year-old, like bouncing on this like horizontal branch with like my feet off the floor. And the kind of somatic experience that went with that was just so profound. And it really, I feel like I've returned to it somehow in my adult life.
That sounds like such a journey to have gone through.
Yeah.
To then have that experience and be like,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And actually I've so the show is very much like, it's narrated by tree spirits who are, there's 4 of us on stage. We're all non-binary, so like everyone has been through their own gender journey and has arrived at this place where it's like, I'm neither male or female, I'm somewhere in between. And ironically, 96% of trees are hermaphrodites.
Okay.
And that's a biological fact.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of the plant world, don't have like a sex like humans, which I find hilarious. And it's sort of made with the premise that if we acknowledge the diversity of the natural world, I don't think we'd have such a big issue with diversity in the human world.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I think diversity is good though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think but I think there's a lot of issues with it at the moment. And so it's a folk tale. So there's a lot of folk music. I've got 3 string instrumentalists. I play a bit of ukulele and I play the flute, and I've made 7 songs that feature in it. We do like choral arrangements.
This is like a it's your life's body of work.
It feels like it. It's a body of work that accumulates aspects of my life. But it feels like a real accumulative moment where a lot of my experiences have come together. Yeah. And it feels like a big aha moment. And and I feel like, I think what I'm trying to do with the show as well, like we've got directors and coaches coming in of all genders. So we've got cis people coming in, looking at the show, working with us. We've got queer people, we've got non-binary people, we've got trans people. And I think that's been really important to me because I really want the show to ask questions to everyone and to allow them to decide where they fall. So it's not this notion of you need to accept me the way I am right now, but it's like it's showcasing how gender is a construct. It's something that we are kind of conditioned into.
It sounds like there's like a lot of aspects to the performance that you're really trying to bring an awareness to, the audience through your own experiences and interpretation of storytelling that is actually quite relevant in like today's like topic.
I think so. And I've chosen nature as a place we can all meet and explore this stuff because nature applies to everyone. Yeah. So I'm trying to draw on universal themes in a way that I hope doesn't make people feel defensive, because I don't want, as soon as people get defensive, you've lost them.
Why would they get defensive?
So there are a couple of characters. So I multi-roll as 6 different characters in the show.
Of course you do.
Yeah. And there's a couple of characters who are the kind of more toxic expressions of masculinity and toxic expressions of femininity.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because was it a couple of podcasts ago I was talking about toxic masculinity and how it actually doesn't exist because it was a psychiatrist term that was used in a study in a male prison that then got out into mass communication.
Yeah.
And now everybody talks about toxic masculinity. And this person that was talking about this was saying it doesn't exist because you just have toxicity. You have divine femininity and divine masculinity, and then you have toxicity because feminine, you can be toxic feminine as well, which then at the end of the day, it's just toxicity, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've brought up all of these issues. I've played them in a way that shows how they are very candidly doing their best, but they have subscribed to generations of believing certain things.
Yeah.
And so I don't and actually the cis straight guy who was coaching me on making those characters was like, I'm actually amazed by how you're a non-binary person and you're able to compassionately play a transphobic dude. He was like, that's quite amazing. Like, because he didn't realize that I would understand the things that create that in someone.
But why? Why did he think that? Why did he not realize that you could do it?
I don't think he doubted me. I just think he was surprised by the range, maybe. And I think there's something around, like, I think there's a perception around the queer community where they huddle together and they don't engage with straight people.
Yeah.
And actually...
Sorry, it was a leading question.
Yeah.
And the point that I was making is exactly what you're trying to do, is try to break people or bring more awareness about, like, there's 2 things. Bring more awareness about, like, the community and these stereotypes. And then 2, you're a performer. Like, it's a role you're playing. Like, why wouldn't you...
Yeah,
I feel like best performance.
I feel like there's for me anyway, I have to really know something or feel have the internal feeling to play it in a way that feels genuine for the audience. Like it has to really feel real for me. And interestingly, you know, when someone is going through an experience of gender dysphoria, they often tend to suffer with internalized transphobia on the way to coming out. And that comes from this feeling of shame that you don't live up to the way the rest of the society is, that there's nothing in sex education at school that says, oh, there's these people who don't identify with either. You know, there's nothing to go off, and you're put in this situation where you have no reference for what you're experiencing, which a lot of trans people experienced in history before, you know, it was more of a widely known thing. And I think as members of the trans community, I think we're quite aware of where that comes from within a person, you know? And yeah, I don't know. I find the whole thing quite sad, and interestingly, like, I've participated in a lot of spiritual practices and communities. Yeah, I find the divine feminine thing very, very difficult. I find it Like,
why?
Because that's not how I experience myself.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Like,
that's completely okay.
But being in that space, and usually I wouldn't choose to go to any divine feminine spaces, but what I would find is a lot of people, for example, with like ecstatic dance or like going to like a movement meditation, you'd find a lot of people, well, I would find a lot of people who would give unsolicited advice around femininity to me, because they could see that I was perhaps presenting more androgynous, or they would do the opposite and pull away and not go into that topic, which I found really interesting. And I have a lot of friends who are women in the spiritual community, and I massively respect their journeys and what they do. But it's been a real journey for me to find spaces where I feel seen. Yeah.
You know, when people do that though, like I think a lot of that is just due to fear.
I know, yeah,
and
totally.
the unknown.
And I deal with people's fear and unknown all the time.
Yeah.
I deal with it all the time. And you know, I have a lot of capacity. But I also, as a basic need to have spaces where I can go, where I do feel seen. And I think you know, I think having a kind of exclusive queer community space is important for anyone. I mean, for me, my partner's also non-binary, so we live together. And since we've lived together, I don't need people to be a certain way with me so much because I have them at home. I don't, but I think before that I was living in a queer community in London. I think for me, a living space, I need to just be able to let go and just be like, for it to not be, for me to not have to explain and to work really hard to explain anything to anyone. You know, between me and my partner, there's a very silent understanding that's just there. And, you know, I think that happens in any great relationship, really. There's an understanding, and you don't need to talk about it. And I think that's definitely there for us. But it just means that I can kind of go out into the world and kind of let go of, I don't know. But yeah, like I think, you know, the show generally kind of is talking about that. You know, there's a spoken word piece that I do that's very it's addressing the internal emotions around being in public spaces. And it's really powerful, I think. Yeah.
It sounds powerful.
Yeah. I think the whole thing
just sounds so unique to anything that I've ever like heard about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm interested to come
and
watch.
You should come watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so excited because we performed it in this was originally a solo show, and then I created a collective, Holly, Rowan and the Wildebeens. Yeah, and the Wildebeens are the musicians, and we have like a projection artist as well, and so they're doing lots of like play with the projection and nature. And
do you think it's transitioning from a solo performance to a group performance? Do you think it's enhanced the performance?
Yeah, it's done everything I wanted it to do on my own that I couldn't do, you know.
Do you think it's also been easier for you? Because I can imagine that there could have been some potential like misinterpretation of like the story or like things like that.
No, I feel like it landed really well. The first run, it was like a very living room performance energy. Like it was very, I don't mind putting myself out there half baked sometimes. Like I'm fine with it because sometimes I just need to learn.
That's the best. That is the best way to learn.
Yeah, I think
just
so.
Put
just
yourself
go do
out.
it. Yeah. I'm one of those. I'm a big kind of I'll just go do something and I don't really care about.
I actually, look, I never want things to be perfect anyway.
Yeah.
Because nothing's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, what is perfection?
Yeah, I know.
Perfection actually has flaws in it.
Yeah.
That's what make you love what you see.
Yeah.
or like listen to, or like whatever, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for example, oh my God, mind blank. He was a musician and oh my God, I can't. Anyway, no, I'm not going to talk about it. But yeah, like just like doing stuff on your own, and you called it half baked. I call it like just a preemptive, you know, like it doesn't have to be 100% because it's never going to be 100%.
Yeah.
If you think that something's ever 100% before you put it out, either you are clueless or you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Because nothing is ever 100%.
Yeah.
You could be doing more.
Yeah. And I feel like I've kind of just allowed the show to be a different expression every time I've done it as well.
Yeah.
And I love that because it's trans in nature anyway. It's like a transitioning show, which I think is hilarious because it's about transitioning. It's so perfect. And the second run I did was in Adelaide Fringe earlier this year.
Yeah.
Keep thinking we're in 2025 already.
I know that's in about a month's time.
It's coming soon, yeah.
It's coming real quick.
Around, yeah.
Bro, I can't believe we're like December.
I know.
And look, my birthday was the 26th of November, right? And every fucking year,
Sagittarius.
Yeah.
I'm 29.
Oh!
Yeah. We love Saggies.
Yeah, we
They're
do.
so
My
good.
sister's a Saggy as well.
The best.
My brother would have been, but he came a week early, so he's a Scorpio.
Oh, we love Scorpios though.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. I love Scorpio. Scorpio is my favorite energy. It's my favorite. It's confrontational, but it's good. It's good. It's the shit we need.
Is it?
Yeah, definitely.
Fuck.
Amen to Scorpios.
You're into Scorpios?
Amen to them. Yeah, I love
amen.
them. I love Scorpios. Yeah.
Look,
controversial.
Yeah, you're really hitting a nerve there. What was I saying?
I can't remember.
Oh, no. So,
Well done.
yeah, like, 2025's coming up real quick.
Oh, I was talking about Adelaide Fringe.
Yeah. But no, I was talking about whenever my birthday comes around, you know, because it's the 26th of November and Christmas is the 25th of November. And then it's like less than a month till Christmas. And it's like, we're going to like just turbo past December, and next you know it's the new year.
Yeah,
you know?
it's all a bit much. I find it a bit overwhelming. Yeah, like I would prefer to have a birthday in June or something. It would probably be better.
Colder months?
Well, it would have been warmer in the UK.
Oh, okay.
I'm still a bit northern hemisphere in my body, to be fair. I get a bit confused, yeah.
Do you want to know something about our birthdays?
What?
You probably already know this.
What?
We're Valentine's babies.
Oh, no, I never thought about that. Great. Thanks for that.
Sorry, visual image of your mum and dad.
But it's also interesting, isn't it, that holidays thing. When everyone's always like, what's your favourite holiday? And I'm like, none of them. I celebrate the solstice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good holiday.
Yeah. December the 21st or 22nd.
It's a shame it's not an actual holiday.
Exactly. Well, I wouldn't want it to be. I don't know. Mainstream stuff. It just creates chaos, doesn't it? Christmas is chaos. I don't know. I've only started doing family Christmases since coming out to Australia, but I didn't do them for 7 years. And I took a week on my own.
But your family is in the UK. So how are you doing family Christmases in Australia?
My partner's family.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me there.
Yeah, we got Aussie family. And yeah, I would just be on my own, like, and do some beautiful reflecting on the year.
Yeah.
And I'd go into the new year completely peaceful.
Yeah.
Which is I don't know, I find it all very strange.
Playing with your sticks. In the forest.
Yeah.
Talking to the plants.
Yeah.
Playing Mission Impossible. No, you wouldn't be doing that. Only the cat does that. So you did your second performance at Fringe Festival in Adelaide earlier this year.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
Yeah, it was great. And we had such a mixed audience. So like one night there was just a night full of trans people. And then another night there was only cis het people there. And they looked really skeptical when they came in, and I was like, oh God, they've come to hate on my show. I'm terrified. And afterwards, this old guy who's like must have been in his 50s or 60s came up to me and whispered in my ear, "That was powerful." And I was like, wow. And that's all we need.
Yeah.
That's the shit.
That's amazing.
I know. And I feel very grateful, like, for that. And as I say, I just want people from all different backgrounds to come see the show. And I think theatre for me needs to create conversations, whether they're hard or not. Like, it feels like the platform where we need to talk about shit and for the audience to really reflect.
Well, it's the ability to storytell, right?
Yeah.
And storytell,
which is ancient.
Allow the perspective to be transferred to other individuals so that they can, have their own aha moments or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't even think for me, storytelling isn't even about getting a perspective across. I feel like it's about sharing for me, I often do autobiographical work. I think sharing my personal experience in the most earnest and honest way possible, and asking the audience questions, or like putting very ambiguous things into the air for them to pick out what they want. That some of the questions are very challenging and quite confronting, but I believe that theatre is a healing power. And I believe, because my life, during my darkest kind of days, which was in my youth, theatre and dance was the only thing where I could really connect with my spirit when I was watching it or when I was in it. And I really believe in its power to move people in a way that is not even necessarily in the mind. It's in the body and it's in the spirit. And it's so interesting when people are in the audience of watching a show and there's like movement happening. We have what are they called? Mirror neurons, where the mirror neurons in your body are doing the same movement in your body as the people on stage. Your body is fully experiencing what's happening on stage. So like inside you, your body is telling you like, I'm jumping and I'm doing this, and your imagination is so activated. And there's not many other things that can do that. And this is, dance, storytelling, collective song, like they outdate most human like societal things. They're so ancient, and that's why I believe in them so much, I think. Yeah.
I've never heard of the mirror neurons.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a really beautiful dance practitioner. I went on a dance retreat in the UK and she was talking about that and I was like, whoa. That was very exciting.
Is that kind of like yawning? You know how yawning is contagious?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my pet peeve is when people tell people to stop yawning. I'm like, did you know that means that their nervous system's actually regulated and they're like doing great? Like it's got nothing to do with manners. It's so silly.
Do not make that comment in front of Holly.
It's not even that though. It's just like when people in my class, for example, when I'm teaching Pilates, they yawn. They're like, "It's not about you, don't worry." I'm like, wasn't thinking it's about me. I was like, that means I'm doing my job right.
Yeah.
Because they all yawn after the warm up, which means that they've dropped out of their like mind and into their body. And I'm like, great, wicked, we can start.
Yeah.
So interesting.
So where are you performing your show here in Melbourne?
So it's going to be part of the Midsummer Festival, which is a queer theatre festival.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Oh my God.
It's Larry.
Hey, Larry. And it's going to be at the Motley Bauhaus, which is a beautiful indie theatre in Carlton. It's on Elgin Street.
I know the street.
Yeah. So it's pretty central, and it's going to be the 3rd to the 9th of February. So we're doing like a 6-day run.
Nice.
6 p.m. because I like going to bed at 9.
That's when the plants go to bed.
That's when that's when the sun goes down. So we're gonna go
try to
sleep.
get the circadian rhythm in line.
Oh my God, cicadas are a lot, man. They're a lot. They're quite intense.
They are.
When I got to
They're
Australia,
fucking massive here.
yeah. When I got to Australia, I was like, everything's so noisy. And then you go back to the UK and it's like cheep, 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 cheep. Like everything's so soft.
Nothing's cheap in the UK.
No. That was such a plot twist. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't see that coming.
I'm quick.
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah.
Well done. But yeah, that's when the show is.
Okay, so 6 till 9.
Yeah, tickets are on sale now. You can
That's
go on the
exciting.
Midsummer website and see
So
it.
Midsummer website. Okay, so
Yeah.
people can go now and buy
Buy tickets, yeah.
cool.
People can also buy tickets for Adelaide Fringe.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the 20th to the 23rd of February.
That's fucking exciting.
I know. So we're touring, basically. We're going Midsummer, and then we're doing Adelaide Fringe.
And then where's next? The world.
Well, I think a couple of the artists are Rosie's from Brisbane.
Mm-hmm. You should go to Brisbane.
Huh?
You should go to Brisbane.
Well, that's what I was saying, and then another member's from Geelong.
Yeah.
So we were thinking maybe the next thing would be to take the show to other places. I've got a friend in Tasmania, in Hobart, so we could probably go down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like doing a bit of a tour around Oz would be fun.
What about New Zealand?
Yeah, I love New Zealand.
Take it to New Zealand.
And I want to go to Wellington. It belongs in Wellington, to be fair. I think it'd be great. And Christchurch as well would be good.
I'm going to New Zealand in January.
Oh yeah, what are you doing?
My one of my best mates is getting married. Well, he's already married, but he's having the ceremony.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. That's another thing that I find funny. I don't have any friends getting married. And I'm 30.
Oh.
None of my friends are getting married. I find it really because
that's okay.
I know, but it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like I don't.
Why do you need to get married?
Oh, I don't want to get married. We already have to do the whole partnership visa thing.
Yeah. De facto.
At least there's a de facto. At least we don't have to get married.
Yeah. Technically, you're married.
Yeah. Nah. I know it's enough.
On paper.
On paper. I mean, it just
married.
means I can be here, you know.
On paper, you're married.
Yeah. I didn't want paperwork to get into any of my relationships, but it's okay. If it means I can be here, it's good.
If you want to be here, that's what you got to do to stay in the country.
Exactly. So it's good.
Goddamn fucking government.
Well, it's fair enough in some ways. I don't like the price of it. I think it's a bit extortionate. I have a lot of older friends who got here on partnership visas 15 years ago, and they were like, "Oh, it's just $2,000." I'm like,
I don't want to know how much it is.
Yeah, no, it's a lot, but it's just something that we need to do, and it's just an adult thing that you got to do, isn't it?
Yeah. You should definitely go to New Zealand. Take the show international.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think Wellington and Auckland would definitely be good. And but we also want to. I have a lot of connections in India because I did some performance training out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think doing a tour around India would be really cool as well.
Do you think it would be accepted?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
there are lots of places. There are lots of places where it would. The queer community in India is really growing. It's also it's very it's in much earlier circumstances than right now. There's a lot of battles going on around it, but
I bet
there's some really beautiful queer people out there. And yeah, I think social media in a way has been really affirming for a lot of people in lots of other countries who are queer or trans. It just creates a lot of international relations.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very permission giving, I think, for people to identify, and it's good. So
well, Holly, How can people contact you?
Oh, yeah, you can contact me on Instagram. So my personal Instagram for my own creative work is Holly Rowan Arts.
Okay.
And then the Instagram for the collective and we're doing for the show is Holly Rowe Wildebeans.
Wildebeans.
Holly Rowe Wildebeans.
I'll have it come up.
Yeah. You can probably collaborate this post with the Holly Rowan Arts and Holly Rowe Wildebeans, and 100%. Then everyone find everything.
100%, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And then Midsummer Festival for Adelaide.
Yeah.
As well as the performance here in Melbourne.
So Midsummer here in Melbourne.
Sorry, I got that
you're
wrong.
Okay. 3rd to the 9th of Feb.
Yeah.
And then Adelaide Fringe. 20th to the 23rd.
I fucking really fucked that up, didn't
You're
I?
fine. Don't worry. Yeah. So we're just gonna be out and about touring. Yeah. And you know, if you're curious, come along.
Yeah.
You don't have to be queer to be there.
Yeah.
That's the biggest message.
I'm keen
today. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Let me just take a quick selfie. Amazing. Well, Holly, thanks so much for coming on the podcast and sitting down and having a chat. Oh shit, you didn't play your ukulele.
It's okay. Do you want to play it? Do you want me to play it?
Do you want to play it?
Yeah, I'll bring the mic a little bit further away so I can sing properly.
Okay.
Because it might be a bit loud otherwise. Also, I'm singing with headphones in. That's pretty intense.
What do you mean? Don't you ever sing with headphones?
It's like muffled.
Oh.
It's okay.
Do you want to take it off?
No.
You can take them off.
Really?
Yeah. Take them off to sing.
Take them off. Is it just to hear myself?
Yeah. So
Okay.
that we don't talk over each other.
Can you hear it in the mic okay?
No.
Do we need to mic it up?
No, you need to put the mic down there. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like here.
Is that better? Can you hear my voice though? You got to be in between. Is that better? We're micing up. Good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. I'll do a little bit.
Okay, go.
She was my mother tree of wag of width and winding, and in her bumbling abode she saw through my needless wants and bindings. She touched my wildness beyond my fiery fixing fathoms, and she hailed my beauty with a stoic yield and abandon. Oh, my mother tree, she made a promise to me that she would awake my flesh to our inseparable beauty, and she'll carry my bones to my new home in her entropy, and alight my new boding into her soft irregularity. And she would rewilder me.
Oh my God. That was amazing.
Thank you. Imagine that with a cello, a violin, and a guitar, and an instrumental with a flute. That was very, very like not what it is with them behind me.
Yeah.
With my Wildebeans,
Yeah.
who are absolutely amazing musicians and
Yeah.
have like created that song into like the most expansive, wonderful. Like I cried when we first painted the picture. It was beautiful. So yeah.
just seeing all of that kind of like come together,
Yeah.
and the fact that you were performing it solo to begin with, and then
yeah, exactly.
I have to come and see it.
Yeah, please come.
Yeah,
it'd be nice. Bring your pals. Bring your friends.
I will. Again, thanks for coming along.
Thank you.
And having a chat. And thanks everyone for listening in. Make sure you hit subscribe and that notification bell, and catch you guys on the next one. See ya.